Yeah. So, hello everyone. So, welcome you all to another interesting session which comes under the information technology, right? Under the module of BMGT E1065. So, basically, we are already done with the lessons of computer introduction to computer studies, right? Computer introductions and everything. And then again, I briefly discuss you some information aspect regarding the computer hardware. And then we talked about computer software, right? Different types of hardware, different types of software, and why these two things are interrelated, why these two things are important. So everything we discussed, right? So today we'll be talking about another important lesson, which is the operating systems, the lesson number 12. So for you to understand the facts that we discuss under the lesson of operating system, it's really important for you to have that knowledge that we gathered during our very first lesson of Introduction to Computer Studies and the computer hardware and the computer software, right? So I'm not sure whether you can remember when we discussed about the hardware, that's perfectly fine. We discussed about internal, external components, and then input devices, output devices, and storage devices, and also that part is done. So when I was talking about the software part, so basically we divided the computer software into two different elements now, right? So one is the application software where the users are directly interacting with. Okay. The other one is the system software, right? So the users are not basically interacting with the system software, but without informing the user that, okay, we are here for you to support the smooth functioning of your computer. But the system software basically assists the users to ensure the smooth functionality of their operations, right? So, if I talk a little bit about the system software, so you might remember there are four different things that we discussed, different types of system software, starting from this operating system, which is the topic of the day. And then we discuss about the utility software, then the device drivers and the language translators. So not for the other three components of utility software, device drivers, and the language translator, but we have a separate topic to discuss about the operating system. So you can just imagine how much it is important and how critical this topic is for us to discuss. So today, basically, we'll be talking about the operating system. So usually when you're using a computer, so there are certain things where you don't what you call certain things that you don't know that the computer is doing for you. දැන් පරිගණකේ පාවිච්චි කරනකොට ඔයා දන්නේ නැහැ සමහර දේවල් කම්පියුටර් එක ඔයාට සපෝට් එකක් විදිහට කරලා දෙන දේවල් තියෙනවා. Just imagine, like, if you have to instruct the computer to do many small things, can පොඩි පොඩි දේවල් ඔයාට කරලා දෙන්න කියලා කම්පියුටර් එකට instructions දෙන්න කිව්වොත් එහෙම ඒ වැඩේ හරියන්නේ නැහනේ, right? ඔයාට වෙන වැඩක් කරගන්න හැකියාවක් ලැබෙන්නේ නැහැ එහෙම වුණොත්. ඉතින් ඔයා ඔයාගේ application software පාවිච්චි කරලා ඔයාගේ main duty එක කරනකොට there should be a separate party behind you which help you to do your functions in a very smooth manner, but not, ඔයා දන්නෙත් නැහැ සමහර වෙලාවට මට එහෙම දෙයක් කරලා දුන්නද මෙයා කියලා. ඔන්න ඔය වගේ there are certain things which are secretly happening, right? As a support for you in when you're executing your day-to-day activities. So all these activities are done by the operating systems, right? For an example, just imagine, so you can see a beautiful screen, right? So you see a beautiful screen, right? Different icons are available. If I just right click like this, you can see the menu bars, right? It's so attractive. If I click on this start button, so you can see number of icons displaying here, right? So you can see it's so attractive, no? හරිම බැලුවම හරි ආසිතනවා මේක මේවට පේන විදිහ. right? ඔයාට මේ කම්පියුටර් එක පේන විදිහක් තියෙනවා නේද? මෙන්න මේ පේන විදිහට අපි කියනවා user interface එක කියලා. How a user can see the screen, right? So this thing should be very attractive because අපි younger generation එක අපි කැමති නේද ඉස්සර කාලේ වගේ කම්පියුටර් එකක් තියෙනවට නිකන් black හරි dark blue හරි atmosphere එක නැත්නම් background එක අපේ අකුරු විතරක් පේනවා නම් පින්තූර පේන නැත්නම් අපි ඒකට කැමති නැහැනේ. It's not nice, no, it's not that attractive as well. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා අපි කැමති හරි ලස්සනට පේනවට. Right? ඒ වගේම තමයි when you are using a computer, you would like to use your devices without any interruptions. Right? So you would like to control your devices, so the hardware devices without any interruptions. Right? And also when you're using a computer, you would generate quite a lot of memory elements, quite a lot of memory. Right? So without, interference of yours, there should be someone available to manage this memory. There should be someone to manage the devices that you are dealing with. Also, you are generating quite a lot of files, maybe the text files, maybe the video files, audio files, and everything. So, there should be a separate support available to handle all these files. Right? For an example, when you do a Zoom recording, so you don't have to tell, okay, you have to record this and keep it, store it in this particular folder. මේක මෙතන කරන්න මෙතන මේ store කරලා තියන්න කියලා ඔයාට අමුතුවෙන් instructions දෙන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. Computer itself will do it for you. So, like I mentioned earlier, usually when we want to use a computer, right? When we want to use a computer, there are things that we need to have. One is hardware, things that you can touch. Right? We need a computer, even if it is a laptop or a desktop, you need a keyboard, right? And we need a mouse. So these two may be imperative නේක නැතුව අපිට වැඩ කරන්න බෑ. So ඊට අමතරව අපි හිතමු ඔයාගේ job එක අනුව අපි හිතමු ඔයා video editor කෙනෙක් නැත්නම් ඒ වගේ එකක් කරනවා කියලා නැත්නම් photo editor කෙනෙක් වගේ නම් you might need some other devices with you. Right? Hardware devices with you. Sometimes if you are working in an office as well, sometimes there are things that you need to have, especially to do online meetings like webcams and all. If you are working in an office, you might need the scanner, the printer, and there are some other devices like microphones are there, the projectors are there, right? If I do this lecture as an online session, there should be a projector that I have to use, right? And sometimes we connect smart boards, and then the scanner, like I mentioned, different type of printers are there, right? Headsets, headphones are there. So different things are available at hardware. Like you need to have all of these things to do your day-to-day activities. Like those are about the hardware, right? And then again, you need to have the software as well. මෘදුකාංගත් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒකට මෘදුකාංගවල day-to-day activities අපිට කරගන්න අවශ්‍ය කරන application software ටික අපිට වෙනම ඕන කරනවා. Right? So the word processing, spreadsheets are there, PowerPoints are there, video editing software, web browse applications are there, different mobile apps are there, right? Different application softwares are there. So we need to have those as well. And apart from that, we need to have the system software as well, like which has those major 4 components that I told you just a couple of minutes ago, right? So we need to have the system software as well. And මේ දෙක වැරුණම අපිට තියෙන්න ඕනේ මම කලින් ඔයගලන්ට කිව්වා live වෑ ගැන ජීවාංග ගැන මේ ජීවාංග අපිට තියෙන්න ඕනේ ජීවාංග කියලා කියන්නේ මොකද්ද මේ හැමදේම හසුරවන්න කෙනෙක් ඉන්න ඕනනේ අන්න එයාට අපි කියනවා user කෙනෙක් කියලා ඒ කියන්නේ living being කවුරු හරි කෙනෙක් ඉන්න අවශ්‍යයි users මේගොල්ලන් ඉන්න ඕනේ so all these hardware all these software and all these liveware should be interconnected, right? For a computer system or for a devices or for a computer to function, all these 3 things should be connected together. right? So using a keyboard, you type something, right? And then ඔයගේ monitor කියන output device එකේ දැන් hardware එකත් අපි two types වලට divide කරනවානේ, right? Input and output කියලා input and output devices. එතකොට monitor එක ගත්තොත් එහෙම output එක type කරන output එක කවුරු හරි user කෙනෙක් නැත්නම් live එකක් ඉඳලා එයා type කරයින් පස්සේ ඒක monitor කියන output device එකේ appear වෙනවා, right? ඔන්න ඔය කියන process එක වෙනකොට ඕකේ මැද කවුරු හරි ඉන්න ඕනේ support කරන්න. දැන් user hardware එකක් use කරලා දෙයක් type කරනකොට නැත්නම් computer එකට මොනවා හරි input කරනකොට දෙයක් feed කරනකොට computer එකෙන් ඒක අරන් මොනවා හරි processes යනවා නම් ඒ processes වලට ඒක වාජනය කරලා output device එකක් විදියට නැත්නම් ඔයාට අවශ්‍ය දේ මොකක් සවුන්ඩ් එකක් ඔයාට අවශ්‍ය වීඩියෝ එකක් ප්ලේ කරන්නද අවශ්‍ය වර්ඩ් ડોකියුමන්ට් එකක් ටයිප් කරන්නද අවශ්‍ය ෆිල්ම් එකක් බලන්නද ගේම් එකක් ප්ලේ කරන්නද ඒ ඕනම දෙයක් ඔයා අවුට්පුට් එකක් වාට එනවනේ. එතකොට අවුට්පුට් එක වොයිස් එකක් නැත්නම් සවුන්ඩ් එකක් විදියට එන්න පුළුවන්. So that output can be an image එකක් විදියට එන්න පුළුවන්. That output can be a table, right, in spreadsheet. It can be a Word document. It can be a PowerPoint presentation. So whatever the output, ඒක එන්න අපි හිතමු monitor කියන output device එකෙන් ඔයාට ඒක ආපහු ලබා දෙන්න. එතකොට ඔන්න ඔතන මැද ඉඳලා user නැත්නම් live එක hardware එකක් through දෙන data එක අරන් මොනවා හරි ඒක process එකකට ලක් කරලා නැවත ඔයාට user ට අවශ්‍ය කරන output එක ලබා දෙන වැඩේ coordinate කරන්න කවුරු හරි third party එකක් ඉන්න අවශ්‍යයි නැත්නම් mid party එකක් ඉන්න ඕනේ. අන්න එයාට අපි කියනවා system software එකක් කියලා නැත්නම් system software නැත්නම් අපි කියන එකට පද්ධති මෘදුකාංගයක් කියලා අපි කියනවා. එතකොට මේ පද්ධති මෘදුකාංගය ඇතුලේ ඉන්න වැදගත්ම කෙනෙක් තමයි මෙන්න මේ කියන operating system එක. දැන් අපි කියනවා මෙහෙයුම් පද්ධතිය කියන එක. එතකොට අර කිව්ව සමස්ත ක්‍රියාවලිය නැත්නම් ඒ කිව්ව entire process එක manage කරන්න ඊට පස්සේ ඒ entire process එක coordinate කරන්න ඒ අපිට අවශ්‍යයි මොකක් හරි දෙයක් process කරගන්න අවශ්‍ය කරන activities resources manage කරන්න coordinate කරන්න අපිට operating system එකක් ඕනේ වෙනවා. So that is what you call as an operating system. So operating system basically help to manage and coordinate the required activities, the required resources of a computer or a computer system. So ඒක ලියා ගන්න කොහේ හරි ලියා ගන්න ඉඩ තියෙන තැනක. Right? So operating system help to manage and coordinate the activities and the resources of a computer or a computer system. Right? So basically මතක තියාගන්න එතකොට activities වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So those දෙකක් manage කරනවා coordinate කරනවා එකක් activities අනිත් එක resources. So activities කියලා කිව්වොත් it can be a process. Right? Any kind of a process. And resources gathot, it can be any kind of a hardware. So basically, you can write down this as well. Operating systems manage the application software from one hand, and on the other hand, hardware and the liveware to use the computer. Right? So operating system එකේ manage කරනවා, coordinate කරනවා, all type of hardware, all type of software and all type of liveware ඔන්න ඔය කියන තුන manage කරන එක coordinate කරන එක OS එකකින් වෙනවා. So now you know what it means by an operating system. Right? So ඔයා මොන හරි දෙයක් computer එකේ enter කරනකොට කිසිම දෙයක් monitor එකේ පේන්නේ නැත්නම්, right? Like මෙන්න මේ වගේ appear වෙනවා කියලා හිතන්න, like you can't see your mouse, your cursor මේ විදිහට move වෙනවා පේන්නෙත් නැහැ, කිසිම icon එකක් පේන්නෙත් නැහැ, right? Which means that your operating system of your computer isn't working. So whenever the operating system isn't working, so you will see a message like this: the operating system wasn't found. Right? මේ වගේ error message එකක් එනවා. So you have to go for a technical assistant and then again sort out the problem exists in your computer. So that's the only option available for you to go with. Right? So that is how it works. So operating system, to remember, it's a middle party which connect all the hardware, software, liveware in a computer, and this operating system help to manage and coordinate all the activities and resources of a computer or a computing system, right? So that is why we identify it as an interface. So you see the user is here. User අපි කිව්වා මේකේ user කෙනෙක් basically deal කරන්නේ මොකක්ද එක්කද? We basically interact with the application software. So now you see in this slide, we basically interact with the application software. So මෙතන තමයි මේ ඉන්න third party එකක් විදියට third party කියලා කිව්වේ මෙතන තුන්වෙනියට ඉන්න නිසා නෙමෙයි mid party එකක් විදියට operating system is there, right? And hardware වලින් නැවත operating system application software output එකක් විදියට user ට detail එක එනවා. So මෙතන interface එකක් විදියට user and the computer hardware මේ කියන එකත් අතර interface එකක් විදිහට operating system එක තියෙනවා. So operating system most basic task are being performed by an operating system. මේ OS එකකින් computer එකක් අපිට computer එකක් විදිහට පාවිච්චි කරන්න අවශ්‍ය කරන basic task හැම එකක්ම perform කරනවා. දැන් ඉස්සරහට අපි කතා කරනවා මොනවද මේ විදිහට perform කරන්න කියලා. So sometimes you know the process, you know the hardware, you know what happens there, but unfortunately you will get to know that okay මේකත් වෙන්නේ operating system එකේදී කියලා ඔයගලන් ඉගෙන ගනීවි. So it control and execute all kind of programs, right? So that is what we call as operating system. So previously ගත්තොත් එහෙම when it comes to the evolution of operating system, initially in the screen nothing was there, right? ඒ කියන්නේ screen එකේ මොනවත් මෙහෙම අර attractive මේ වගේ colorful දේවල් මොනවත් initially අපිට දකින්න ලැබුණ නැහැ. So nothing was there, right? Operating systems yani computer evolution එකේ first second generations වල we couldn't see any operating system, right? But birth එක වෙන්නේ operating systems ගොඩක් වෙලාවට කතා බහට ලක් වෙන්නේ third generation computers වල, right? Third generation computers වල in a basic format, right? In a very basic format එකේ OS තමයි use උනේ. මම ඒක example එකක් ඔයගලන්ට video එකක් include කරලා තියෙනවා how Microsoft has developed their operating systems yearly. So later onwards graphical user interface අපි කියන එකට GUI කියලා graphical user interface. So this is the user interface, how user can see what he is doing, right? How user can see what he is doing. So that is what we call as graphical user interface, right? So later graphical user interface was added. අපි ඒකට කියනවා චිත්‍රක අතුරු මූණතක් කියලා. So graphical user interface එක කියලා කියන්නේ සාමාන්‍ය user කෙනෙක්ට එයා කරන දේ පේන්නේ නැත්නම් එයාට අවශ්‍ය දේ දකින්න තියෙන interface එකකටනේ user interface එකක් කියන්නේ. ඉතින් ඕක basic format එකේ graphical user interface එක introduce වුණා මේ operating systems develop වෙනකොට, and then again ගොඩක් වෙලාවට වර්තමානයේ තියෙන්නේ highly advanced graphical user interfaces, right? සමහර වෙලාවට ඔයගලන් දැකලා ඇති transparent නිකන් වීදුරු වගේ screens වල අපිට අර you might have watched this movie called Krish, right? So in Krish movie you might have seen that. So that was the best example which came to my mind. So there in most of the labs එයාගේ father ගොඩක් වෙලාවට වැඩ කරනවා. ඔයගලන් දැකලා ඇති you might have seen in a glass kind of an interface is there. එතන තමයි එයා ටටක් ගාලා movements එහෙම කරන්නේ නැත්නම් තියෙන objects click කරන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ කිසිම mic එකක් keyboard එකක් mouse එකක් මොනවත් නැහැ. සමහර වෙලාවට එයා වීදුරුවක අපිට objects move කරනවා වගේ තමයි පේන්නේ. So ඒ වගේ ඒවා real world එකේ use වෙනවා. So මම ඒකට try කරන්න real world example එකක් highly advanced graphical user interface එක video එකක් ඔයගලන්ට upload කරන්න LMS එකට. But in case if I couldn't find, just keep your mind is that there are highly developed graphical user interfaces are there, because this is obviously 2023 නේ. එතකොට then yearly මම අර first lesson එකේ කිව්වා වගේ technology is emerging day by day, and the previous technologies compared to the previous one what we have today and at this moment is way advanced, right? So ඔය විදිහට අද වෙනකොට graphical user interface එක highly advanced interface එකක් වෙනකම් අපි දැකලා ඇති develop වෙලා තියෙනවා. So that is how the OS has developed. So you see different examples. So Microsoft Windows, Mac OS for Apple products, and then iOS is there, Ubuntu, Android, right? And apart from that, Linux and Unix, right? So different operating systems are there. එතන මේකට අමතෙන් මම lecture එකේ කරේ මේ ටික කියලා, don't just try to keep only these in your mind. So these are some of the leading operating systems that we discuss in our everyday life. So that's a different story. But always I'm encouraging you to go for some additional ones. Right? එතකොට අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම මේකට අමතරව දෙයක් ටේප් එකේ උත්තරයකට ලිව්වා කියලා ලකුණු අඩු වෙන්නේ නැහැ, වැඩි වෙනවා මිසක්. එතකොට so I'll be giving you a brief explanation for each of these operating systems in a very high level, right? Not in a very detailed level, but in a very high level. Your responsibility is to find some additional information. I would like to impress myself with your answers in your examination. In case if I ask you to explain your answer with some examples and their functionalities, right? So yes, so the first one, why we need an operating system. So far we discussed quite a lot of things. So without having operating system, we cannot do our task in an efficient and a convenient way. So it hides the details of the hardware resources from the users. Like you can't see, you won't be able to see what will happen in the back end. අපි අර කියන්නේ event එකක් යනකොට audience එකට මේක තමයි හොඳම example එක. ඔයගලන්ට operating system එක ගැන ඉගෙන ගන්නකොට ඔළුවේ තියාගන්න පුළුවන්. audience එකේ ඉන්න කෙනෙක්ට පේන stage එකේ නටන ලස්සන drama එකක් නැත්නම් dance එකක් විතරයි. හැබැයි ඒකේ back end එකේ behind the stage there are like a lot of things are happening. Right? හැබැයි කිසිම දෙයක් වෙනවද කියලාවත් දන්නේ අපි දකින්නේ show එක ලස්සනට උනා කියන එක විතර අපි දකින්නේ. ඉතින් අනේ show එක ලස්සනට වෙන්න back end එකේ තියෙන්න ඕනේ ගොඩක් දේවල් manage කරන්න strong body එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඉතින් computer එක නම් මේ screen එකේ පේන හැමදේම manage කරලා ඔයාට කරන්න අවශ්‍ය කරන ඔක්කොම manage කරන එක, activities, devices, resources manage කරන හැම එකක්ම OS එකකින් තමයි වෙන්නේ. ඉතින් back end එකේ details ඔක්කොම මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ කියන එක user පේන්නේ නැහැ. නමුත් එයාට අවශ්‍ය කරන task එක letter එකක් type කරනවා නම් එහෙම, video එකක් edit කරනවා නම් එහෙම, photo එකක් edit කරනවා නම් game එකක් play කරනවා නම් එහෙම, right? So whatever the task it is, user can effectively, conveniently, he can get the task done, but you won't be able to see what will happen in the back end, right? Act as an intermediary between hardware and its user. ඒකයි මම අර කලින් ඔයගලන්ට කිව්වේ, you see, operating system is an interface between the computer user and the hardware. So that is what it says. Manage all the resources of a computer system, not only the resources, but also the activities as well. Keep track on, this should be on, who is using the resources, granting the resource request, mediating conflicting requests from different programs and users, provide efficient and fair sharing of resources among the users. Usually, you will have to share resources like printers, scanners, kind of hardware. Sometimes you will have to share software installed in servers and all, right? So operating systems make all these sharing resources very efficient among the users and the programs. And here we have another one. What operating system does: make sure everything runs properly, right? All the hardware, all the software and the liveware runs properly, and it looks for new hardware, right? And then again, once you have all these things, it will start up the operating system. And then again, it manage all the software, hardware, liveware at that term as well, liveware on the computer. අර කලින් කතා කරපු වගේ summary slide එකක් වගේ තමයි මෙතන තියෙන්නේ. And now we are going to learn about different examples for operating systems. Right? Different examples. So I think we can start up talking about Microsoft Windows. Now you see Microsoft Windows. I have included a video clip as well here. Video clip එකකුත් මම දාලා තියෙන්නේ. ඔයගලන්ට ඒකත් බලන්න පුළුවන්. So you see MS Windows operating system කියලා කියන්නේ ලෝකේ තියෙන ගොඩාක්ම popularම operating system එක. So now they have a computer, Apple Mac operating system එක iOS කියන ඒවා competitors ලා විදිහට ඉන්නවා මේකට. නමුත් මිනිස්සු අතර ගොඩක් ජනප්‍රිය වුණු operating system එකක් තමයි මේක. ඒකට reasons තියෙනවා අපි ඒවා කතා කරමු. So this has basically designed by Microsoft company එකෙන් තමයි මේක design කරේ. So ගොඩක් වෙලාවට අපි device එකක් ගත්තොත් mobile phone එකක් ගත්තොත් preloaded විදිහට ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට device එක අරන් අපි සල්ලි දීලා ලොකු ගාණක් invest කරලා අපිට operating system එකක් install කරන්න අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ නැහැ. දැන් නම් ඉස්සර නම් එහෙම ඕනේ. MS Windows උනත් ඉස්සර නම් අපි we will have to pay some amount of money and then again install that OS to the computer, but now it comes as a preloaded way. Already device එකේ install OS එක අපි කියන OS එක ගහලාමයි එන්නේ. Right? ඉතින් ඒ නිසා ඒක ලොකු reason එකක් වෙලා තියෙනවා operating systems වලට ගොඩාක් popular වෙන්න ලෝකේ. So usually මේ operating systems අපිට උදව් වෙනවා මේ MS Windows කියන එක නම් ලොකුවට අපිට support එකක් වෙනවා, especially you know web browsing, right? Easily you can browse web. You can easily check emails, right? Because MS Windows comes as a package name, OS එකේනවා and then again Windows suite එකේනවා. Right? So we're browsing, checking emails, and you can edit digital pictures, photographs and all. And in case if you want to play games, so that functionalities are available. You can listen to music, like you can do everyday task in a very effective way with these Microsoft Windows operating systems, right? And apart from that, do remember this Microsoft Windows operating system, they have these productivity tools as well, like calendar, spreadsheets, PowerPoint, word processing applications. So different productivity tools are there as well here, right? So ඔන්න ඔය විදිහට ඔන්න ඔය කියන reasons හින්දා අපිට මේ MS operating system එක මේක දැන් first version එක release වුණේ 1985 වලදී. එතකොට එදා ඉඳලා අද වෙනකන් ගොඩාක් versions ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. The first version now you can see 1985 and here I have included the images or the logos of these different versions up to 2015. හැබැයි Windows update වෙලා තියෙනවා. අලුත් versions ඇවිල්ලා තිනවා. ඉතින් මේ ඒකට පොඩි වීඩියෝ ක්ලිප් එකක් තියෙනවා. අපි බලමු ඒක. You can see 1985 වල introduce operating system එකේ user interface එක කොයි වගේද? It's not much attractive and the cursor also it's really big and it's not attractive, like you can do most of the basic tasks, right? So game එකක් වුණත් play කරනකොට බලන්න එතන තියෙන විදිය it's very dull, no? The interface is very dull, right? So the initially ඔය විදිහට තමයි develop වුණේ 1985 වල තිබ්බ user interface එක Windows. After 2 years of time, 1987 Windows 2.0 came, right? අර කලින් එකට වගේ ගොඩක් හරි ටිකක් equal interface එක ටිකක් equal, like in a way, you know, the font එක ගත්තත් හරි dull, like you can't see much of the colors. හැබැයි ටිකක් developed, right? And then again, Windows 3.0 in 1990, right? 1990 wala Windows 3.0 compared to those two, I think what you can see and the functionalities are a bit advanced. Right? ඊතර attractive නෑ හරිම කරන විදියට තමයි තියෙන්නේ ඉතින් ඒ කාලේ develop කරපු එක. We have 3.1 in 1992. Like they don't have much of the time gaps when introducing new versions. Like every year they release like most of the time in every year they release new versions. ගොඩක් වෙලාවට yearly release කරන්නේ නම් macOS තමයි. Right? macOS will release operating systems in every year, but most of the time මේකත් release වෙනවා. So this version is 3.1. So again, way advanced, right? Different features are available. And here again, 1995. And Windows 95 වලට එනකොට user interface එක much ටිකක් advanced, right? මේක ගොඩක් වෙලාවට දැන් තියෙන computers වල අපිට දකින්න ලැබෙනවා. දැන් අර updated මොන versions පාවිච්චි කරනකොට ගොඩක් අඩුයි. නමුත් you can see icons එහෙම තියෙනවා desktop එකේ. Pretty much similar, slightly similar. ටිකක් similar අපිට අද තියෙන. Compared to the first one, පළවෙනියටම introduce කරපු OS එකේ තියෙන game එකයි මේකයි ගත්තොත් එහෙම ගොඩක් වෙනස්. හැබැයි අද වෙනකොට කොච්චරනම් video games available, right? So how people have addicted to how these video games are displaying on the screen, so you can imagine. Windows 98 now make the video so now you can see what we have today. ඔයගොල්ලෝ බලන්න full video එකම observe කරන්න කොහොමද develop වෙලා තියෙන්නේ කියලා. Compared to the oldest one, now you can see how things are there on the screen in the user interface. 2003 wala so way advanced නේද අපිට මේ වගේ menus අර click කරාම දැන් right click කරාම පස්සේ menus available. කලින් එහෙම තිබ්බේ නෑ. හැබැයි දැන් මේ විදිහට develop වෙලා තියෙනවා. Let's see. Okay. 2007 වල තවත් advanced වෙලා user interface එක quite attractive, right? දැන් මෙතන තිබ්බ මේ තියෙන එකට වඩා දැන් තියෙනවා quite attractive. So now you see the interface of the Windows phone එකක් ආවනේ. So that was the very first mobile phone that I had. So Windows Phone එකේ තිබ්බ operating system එක Windows OS එක. So you see what's there. Windows 8 version. So you see the interface, graphical user interface, GUI developed in a graphical way. You can see what's on your screen. You don't have to worry about finding anything by investing a huge amount of time and effort. Like easily you can now you see the interface, how attractive it is in 2013, and here 2021. Right? So yes. So no, විදියට Microsoft කියන එක evolve වෙලා තියෙනවා in a very effective way starting from 1985. So you can watch the full video. Then again, we have another one, which is Apple Mac OS. So basically, this has developed especially for Apple laptops and desktops, right? So we identify this as a proprietary graphical operating system. Like you will have to invest a huge amount of money, right? So in every year, we can see new versions because the company releases every version, every new version in every year. So you can see 2001, 2, 3, and so most of the time in every year, a lot of versions are coming, which has different names, right? So performance wise ගත්තොත් එහෙම හරි quick operating system එක Mac OS එක and the response එක අතින් ගත්තත් හරි quick. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා ගොඩක් කර compared to other operating systems මේකත් popular වෙලා තියෙනවා. Right? එතකොට ගොඩක්ම graphical user interface කියන ඒ user interface එකේ development එකට ලොකු impact එකක් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ මේ Mac OS එකයි. ඉතින් Microsoft Windows වලටත් ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ අර යන traditional path එකකින් එහාට ගිහිල්ලා like to go for a highly advanced user interface and some user experience එකක් දෙන්න Apple Mac OS එකේ developments reason එකක් වෙලා තියෙනවා. And then again we have Linux, one of the famous operating systems, open sources operating systems on the world. So formally we identified as one of the open sources operating systems available, which means we can easily modify, easily distribute, right? So anyone can easily modify and distribute this Linux operating system as it is a open sources one. So it's way different from proprietary ones. Again, proprietary in the sense like you will have to invest a huge amount of money and then you will have to install it in your computer. හැබැයි මෙතෙන්දී එහෙම එකක් නැහැ. You see ඒක අර විවෘත මූලාශ්‍ර මුද්‍රකාංගයක් නිසා. Ubuntu is there, a Linux based operating system එකක්. It is designed for computers, smartphones වගේවට තමයි ඒක design කරලා තියෙන්නේ, right? And okay, so it is designed for computers, smartphones, right? And Unix operating system, which was first developed in 1960s. So this can be identified as a multitasking, multi-user operating system. Mac OS එකත් අපි explain කරනවා Unix based OS එකක් කියලා. හේතුව multi-user, multitasking operating system එකක් විදිහට මේක develop වෙලා තියෙන නිසා. And when it comes to the mobile phones as well, so up to now we discuss about laptops and desktops and all. So when it comes to the mobile phones as well, you see for Apple iPhones how the user interface is there, right? How the things are working. And for Android's phone, how the things are working and how you can see the user interface. And this is Windows, right? So Windows phone එක කොහොමද user interface එක. So this is what you call as graphical user interface, which is really attractive, right? Really attractive. Okay, so now we'll be talking about the basic functions of an operating system. I'm not going to go in detail, but I'll explain. I'll give you a little understanding about the basic functions of the operating system. And what you can do is go through the additional note that I gave, right? Okay. The first one is these operating systems provide the user interface, like what we can see here in a computer, whether it is attractive or not. Attractive hari නැතුව hari computer එක අපිට මේ පේන දේ අපිට පේන reason එකක් තමයි මේ user interface එක. userට දේවල් පේන විදිහ. එතකොට user කෙනෙක්ට දේවල් පේන විදිහ අපි identify කරගන්නවා user interface කියලා. Right? So in the beginning of the lesson today, I told you that how the computer screen or how this desktop is appearing you is basically talks about the user interface, right? And then the other function of this operating system is the managing devices, and there are some other managing, mostly it's accurate if I would say it as managing hardware. So I will correct it as managing hardware. So yes, so these are the basic two different functions that we have to discuss. So first of all, I would like to take your attention to this particular thing. User interface. User interface, how the user can see the interface, right? So herein, do remember, there are two different types of user interfaces. One is the command line interface. The other one is graphical user interface, right? Command line interface and the graphical user interface. For command line interface, we call it as CLI. Graphical user interface, we call it as GUI, right? So you see, there are some interfaces when it comes to the operating systems. OS වලට එනකොට සමහර interfaces තියෙනවා. You can only see the commands like this, right? So the command line interface basically, you see, you can see the commands only by typing the command in a very accurate way. Like you can't miss any single symbol here, right? So you have to, you know, you have to show these, you have to type this command in a very accurate way. Then only you can perform some task. For an example, maybe the experts, computer experts might be working with these command line interfaces like Linux වගේ පාවිච්චි කරනකොට ගොඩක් වෙලාවට. So you see, as some ordinary people can't work with this in a proper way, some experts are working especially to ensure high level of computer security and all. So we call it command line interface. So if I take an example, so I would type here as command, you get an icon called command prompt. So command line interface එකක් තියෙන operating system වල this is the only thing that you can see. Right? This is the only thing that you can see when it comes to the command line interfaces. Like you have to write the command here, and you need to know how to write that command properly. So that understanding should be there. If you don't know how to give a command, so you won't be able to function properly. So now you see, like I mentioned previously, this is the only thing that you can see, in command line interfaces. This is the only thing that you can see, this black screen and the words are typing. So that's the only thing. No attractive icons, so you can't see any kind of an image, right? It's very dull, and especially the people who love to see some colorful stuff in their computer, they find this as really boring. Right? The other thing is you need to have a good knowledge to type here, right? For an example, if I would type it as type and then enter, so you will get it as the syntax of command is incorrect, right? So the command seems to be incorrect. Therefore, you need to have a sound understanding regarding how to write a command properly, right? So the command line interface is that. The other one is the graphical user interface. So you see in time, for most of the computers, they are using this graphical user interface. It's very attractive. Like as you can see here, it's very colorful. You can see different icons. Icons are moving here and there, right? It's very colorful, and like you just feel like it's so enjoying to use your computer. You see, if I click on this Windows icon, a lot of icons are displaying here, right? Even the desktop as well, a lot of icons are displaying here. So if I click on right, a lot of menu bars opening, right? Even when it comes to this particular PowerPoint application, again, a lot of menu bars opening, right? So it's very attractive. So this is what we call as GUI, or the graphical user interface කියලා එහෙනම් අපි කියන්නේ මෙන්න මේකට. පැහැදිලිද? So you see, command line interface is basically used by the experts, right? So උදාහරණයක් විදිහට දැන් ඔය hackers ලා වගේ අය ඉන්නව නේද? So ගොඩක් වෙලාවට command line interfaces එක්ක යනවා වැඩි. මොකද ඒගොල්ලන්ට if they or ඒගොල්ලන්ට හැකින් නැත්නම් ඒ අන්එතිකල් වගේ දේවල් අහු නොවෙන්න කරන්න හොඳ විදිහක් නේ. ඒ ගැන knowledge එක තියෙනවා නම් ඒවත් එක්ක deal වෙනවා නම් ඒ විදිහට. So you see the graphical user interface is unlike that. Like it's very attractive, right? එතකොට user interact වෙන්න හරිම ලේසි. ඕනම කෙනෙක්ට interact වෙන්න හරිම ලේසි graphical user interface එකට එනකොට. So you see OS වල පළවෙනිම duty එක තමයි මෙන්න මේ user interface එක අපිට දෙන එක. So there are two different types. So command line interface. So one is Linux operating system. So you can see command line interface is there. And the other one is graphical user interface. So Windows operating system, Mac OS kind of things are examples. So very attractive and very user friendly, right? The other one is, the other thing I would correct it as managing hardware. Okay. The other duty, the main duty of the operating system is managing hardware, right? So, basically when it comes to a computer, the computer එකක් ගත්තයින් පස්සේ, so we have separate inputs, right? Inputs are there. So usually inputs would be the data, and there is a separate process is going on, and then the output is there, right? So you should need some devices basically to input information. You should need a particular device to process information, and you should need a particular device to output information. So likewise, managing hardware is basically talks about that. To manage the hardware, there are certain processes that you have to go through. So the memory management, process, device, security, file and network. So OS is simply doing all these 6 key elements under the task of hardware management or the device management. Let's say the hardware management is the most accurate term. So let's first discuss about this memory management. මොකද්ද මේ memory management කියලා කියන්නේ කියන එක අපි කතා කරන්න යන්නේ. So memory, there are different categories, random access memory, read-only memory, hard disk drive is a separate thing, and a cache disk, right? So whenever we are working with different computing tasks, this memory should be properly managed, right? So you can't do it deliberately. Like you don't have to invest your time unnecessarily to manage the memory that you're always generating. So compute is there for you. The computer, the operating system is responsible for you to manage the memory properly. So usually we know that even in our mobile phones as well. Just imagine a situation where you have opened up quite a lot of applications, right? But you just find that, okay, when I'm opening quite a lot of applications in my mobile phone, it's getting a little slower and all, right? So what you do is you just close most of the applications and you just find that, okay, it's now the speed is a bit high, right? So all these activities under the memory management would do, all the tasks are located in the memory management would do by operating system. So that kind of an understanding would be enough under that thing. The next one I would say is the process management. So we know that the process, right? So we do a lot of processes together. Okay. අපි ගොඩාක් වෙලාවට අපි processes කරගෙන යනවා computer එකක් පාවිච්චි කරනකොට a lot of processes. දැන් මේ වෙලාවේ what I'm doing is, so I have opened up quite a lot of application software which is the PowerPoint. ඔයාලට පෙන්නන්නම් එක. You see in the taskbar, I right click and then open the task manager. So you see the applications that I'm working with or the processes that I'm dealing with. So I have opened the Google Chrome is working at the same time. The PowerPoint is working. Zoom is working, right? So all these are working. So a lot of processes are going on. The notes okay. So task manage, if you see the task management, so you will see what are the processes are running at in this time, right? එතකොට ඉස්සර නම් අපි කියනවා අර එක process එකක් නේ computer එකට එන්නේ, right? So when you have one particular processor, so you will be able to do one particular task. But nowadays things have developed so far. So what you can see is quite a lot of processes are working. So the parallel activities you can do. Right, so all if you get this all the activities and everything, so operating system is there for you to manage all these tasks, right? So now do this and do that and stop this and stop that, so everything will be advised by the operating system, right? So all the processes, so in the PowerPoint there is a separate process going on, in Zoom there is a separate process going on, right? The processes are managed. On the other hand, I would say, when you take one particular process, there are sub-processes also going on, right? If I take this Zoom, so I'm opening the Zoom, so, and at the same time, I'm sharing the screen. So when it comes to a live classroom, you can chat. So I can share some files and all. I'm at the same time, I'm recording this session, you see. So a lot of sub processes also going on, and just imagine how many processes are running at the same time. So everything will be managed by the OS, operating system. The third one is the device management, right? So computer, when you use a computer, there are quite a lot of devices are connected, right? Devices connect වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් මේ හැම එකක්ම connect කරනකොට, device එකක් connect කරනකොට, obviously you can't use the device as it is if you don't have install device drivers, right? So you need to have the device drivers, so everything will be managed by the operating system. Okay, just give me 1 second. Okay, so that is what you call as device management. So basically all the devices which are connected in a wired way or wireless way, so everything will be managed by the OS. The next one I would say, the security management. So you see security නැත්තම් අපි කියන virus වලින් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, right? එතකොට මම ඔයගලන්ට පෙන්නන්නම් එක දෙයක්. So I just hope you all can see the screen, right? So මේවා practically කරලා පෙන්නන එක තමයි හොඳ. So most recently I received a new pen drive. So what I'm going to do is just unbox it and connect it in front of you to show you how the devices are being installed and how the things will happen. Just give me 1 second. Let's see how it goes. So one way data connect කරනවා මේ අලුතෙන්ම හම්බුන pen drive එකක්, right? I'm not sure what will happen. data. So බලන්න. Okay. Seems like the data is hiding because of virus. Right, anyway. Okay, that's fine. So that's a common issue when I insert some devices to this thing. But anyway, අලුතෙන් මොකක් හරි එකක් කරනකොට it doesn't work. Sorry about that. But when you අලුතෙන් මොකක් හරි device එකක් connect කරනකොට, so automatically drivers are installed. Right, and then we will be talking about the security management. So virus වගේ ඒවා තියෙන්න පුළුවන් හින්දා device එකක් connect කරනකොටම so automatically you will get a message saying like okay, continue without scanning or continue with scanning. And at the same time, like I previously mentioned, ඔයා නැති වෙලාවට මේ screen එක lock වෙලා lock screen එකේ no, so no one can unauthorized way no one can access. So you have to just click on it, right? Access or then no. So I have to give the access, right, for that particular person. එහෙම නැත්නම් lock screen එකේ ඔයාටම තමයි ඔයාගේ credentials include කරන්න වෙන්නේ. So security management වලදී ඔන්න ඔය කියන එක important වෙනවා. Lock screen එකෙන් මෙහෙ විදියට ඊට පස්සේ අපි හිතුවොත් we know that sometimes even in your mobile phone as well, when you enter the wrong password for many times again and again, ගොඩාක් වෙලාවට wrong password එක 3 පාරක් විතර ගහපුවම so you will see a message as try after 5 seconds. වගේ message එකක් එන්නේ. So who does it? The OS will does it. OS will do it for you, right? The other one is the file management. Like I mentioned earlier, a lot of files are generating text files, audio, video, visual files and everything. So everything will be managed. Everything will be stored in the proper place, right? If it is a WhatsApp image, so automatically in your mobile phone, let's say, automatically of all these opening, right? WhatsApp images, Viber images, camera roll images, WhatsApp audios, Viber audios, right? And if I would take this Zoom recordings will be saved in a particular Zoom folder, right? තැන් වල ගිහලා හොයන්න ඕන. අපි දන්නවා මේවා record වෙන තැන. So automatically, so it's easily files are being managed, right? ඒ වගේම තමයි අපි හිතමු අවශ්‍ය දැන් අවශ්‍ය වෙලාවට තැන් වලට දානවා, right? So ඒ වගේම තමයි operating system will erase some sort of files, right? Operating system will erase some sort of files, for an example cookies වගේ ඒවා, right? And it will generate some folder as per your needs, and then right, so okay, so those kind of things. And OS can also do the data separation and all. And for an example, OS will help you to rename the files properly. For an example, if I would see මම එක rename කරන්න යනකොට දැන් ඔයාලට පේන ඇති මම මෙන්න මෙහෙම rename කරගෙන යනවා. අන්න දැන් message එකක් එනවා නේද? File name can't contain any of the following characters. දැන් ඒක ඔයාට කියන්නේ කවුද මේ? මේ කියන්නේ operating system එක. Okay, so it will help you to rename the files folders properly as well, right? A lot of things are done. File separate කරන එක අදාළ අපි කියන file වෙන්වෙන්ව තියෙන එක, right? Our අනවශ්‍ය files erase කරලා දානවා, and it will make some separate folders, right? And file and folders you can auto save or you can manually save them, right? Example එකක් විදිහට මම Google එකේ මොන හරි download කරනකොට දැන් මේක මම save කරනවා කියලා හිතන්න. මේක save කරනකොට so automatically you see file name, they have given a file name, and the save as file type also has been automatically selected. මට ගිහිල්ලා ඕනනම් වෙනස් කරන්න පුළුවන් manually, but automatically it has given, right? So easily you can do these things because OS is there to help you to do all this, right? Finally, we have this network management. So you see wired or wireless, any kind of a network. So it's easily, it will manage for you. So that's what happened. right? And then in the next slide, we have these types of an operating system. So there are different types. So, based on the user and based on the task performed, we can divide operating system into different elements. Based on the user, you can identify the OS as single user OS, only one person can use it at a time, or multi-user OS, right? Many people can use it. Based on the task, you can see single task OS, right? Only one task can be performed at a time. Multitask OS, many different tasks parallelly can happen. So මෙන්න මේ කියන දෙක combine කරලා තමයි single user single task OS එක හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ. එක user කෙනෙක්ට එක program එකක් තමයි perform කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඔය MS DOS වගේ ඒ දවස්වල තිබ්බේ ඒවා. Right? And then the single user multitasking OS in the sense what we use right now, Windows, Mac OS, Linux, right? The one user can perform multitask, right? And multi-user multitasking OS in the sense many users can perform many different tasks. And then the multi-threading කියලා අපි ඔය බහු ක්‍රියායන කියලා අපි කියන්නේ, right? Then ක්‍රමලේඛන කොටස් කීපයක් නැත්නම් ක්‍රමලේඛනයක programs ගොඩාක් එකවර thread එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ ඒකනේ. දැන් අපි thread එකක් ගත්තොත් නූලක් ගත්තොත් ඒ නූල චූටි චූටි නූල් කීපයකින් හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ, right? multi threading කියන්නේ ඒකයි. කියන්නේ sub programs and the programs මේ ඔක්කොම එකට handle වෙන සහ process වෙන OS වලට, so we call it threading, right? ක්‍රමලේඛනයක කොටස් කීපයක් එකවර ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න පුළුවන් විදියට multi threading තියෙනවා. And then the real time OS in the sense like at this when you input some information, when you input a data in a real time way, you can get the output, the calculator, ATM, so those things can be taken as examples. So I think that's what basically we have to talk under the operating system. So listen to the lecture properly, and then I think we can join with the seminars and to discuss what kind of questions you can expect and what kind of questions were there in the previous years, and also we can discuss these things. So thank you so much for joining. Have a nice day.